me on a treasure hunt. I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance? Oh, I wish it was me.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
Yes. Good to have you on the show. This is Omobola Stephen, your host on Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. If you want to be a guest or you like to be a guest on my podcast, why not? You can connect with me via my email, omobolastephen.o@outlook.com. Perhaps you want to catch up with any of my missed episodes, just go online and search for Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen on any podcast distribution platforms, and you'll have a really great time listening to the show. Today, I have Kristin Burke, who is a Goal Achievement Coach and host of Elite Achievement Podcast. Hi, Kristin. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much, Kristin Burke, for your time on the show. Now, I'm looking forward to your professional expertise on today's show, especially on goal achievement. Now, Kristin, why is goal setting important when it comes to success?
Oh, I love this conversation. I get so energized to talk about goals. So goal setting is critical to success because it allows us to live our life by design rather than default. When we set goals, we get to think really big about who we can become, where we want to go, the businesses we want to build, and the goals that we set are the mile markers on our journey of building successful lives and businesses.
Awesome. Now, so why do some people set goals and yet are unable to achieve it? Is there something wrong somewhere?
Oh, okay. So I believe there are 4 characteristics to goal achievers. And these characteristics are what set people apart from those who set their goals and don't achieve them, and those that set their goals and they do achieve them. The very first characteristic of a goal achiever is clarity. We have to know what it is that we want and why we want it. And this is one of the areas where I see some people get hung up or tripped up when it comes to goal setting. I think we can all say we've been there and we've set a goal because we think it's what we should be going after. It's what other people are going after. It's what we've been told we should focus on. And sometimes we achieve those goals, but more often than not, what I find is that if we are not deeply connected and deeply passionate about a goal that we set, it is going to be far more challenging to achieve that goal. The second characteristic of a goal achiever is confidence. Now, I love talking about confidence because so often on our goal achievement journeys, we wait to feel confident before we take action. And it's actually the opposite. It's the action that we take that builds our confidence. So confidence is a critical element to achieving goals because how often do you get this great idea? You get this burst of inspiration, and then all of a sudden you start to overthink it. You question, am I good enough? Am I an imposter? Is this really what I should be going after? How should I do it? And we overthink our ability to take action, which diminishes our confidence. So confidence is a critical component of goal achievers. That third characteristic is courage. And courage is important to speak about because when we go after big goals and we're building our businesses and we're building our ideal lives, we're going to need to do some things that get us out of our comfort zone. And so often we face fear. And I love when fear is described as a false expectation appearing real. So often we face fear, and it's goal achievers who learn how to persevere and take action regardless of fear. So it's not that a goal achiever doesn't feel fear, but they have developed ways to work through that fear so they can take the necessary action to achieve their goal. And that final characteristic, the fourth and final one, is consistency. And consistency is important on our goal achievement journeys because, look, we're going to try some things. We're going to take action, and we're not going to get the results that we thought or that we desire. But if we believe in consistency versus striving for perfection, we're going to keep going. We're going to ditch that all or nothing mentality that can hold us back and say, hey, what can I learn from this? How can I do this a little bit different? How do I keep taking action? Even if I miss a day, it doesn't mean that I'm going to fail. The real failure is not getting back up and not continuing to persevere and achieve those goals. So goal achievers have an extreme amount of clarity. They're confident, they're courageous, and they are consistent on their pursuit of achieving their goals.
Right. Now, Kristin, you said, and I quote, the first characteristics of a goal achiever is having clarity. Now, the question is, what does it mean to have clarity of goal or vision? And are there ways to get clarity?
So I love when we have a long-term vision to help us get clarity on the goals that we're setting today. So often having a long-term vision can be very intimidating or very scary. I will hear people talk about, well, I can't see that far into the future. I have no idea what life is going to look like 10 years from now, what my business is going to look like 10 years from now. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. We don't have a magic crystal ball that's going to predict exactly what everything is going to look like. But if we allow ourselves the space to dream and to vision and to think about what could be possible for my life, we build out a 10-year vision and we create a draft of what our life and our businesses are going to look like 10 years from now. That can serve as an incredible foundational piece for goal setting today, because the goals that you set today, if they're connected to that bigger picture, they're connected to that 10-year vision, we are much more inspired to go after those goals. And then I think it's important to point out that I believe our vision can and should evolve as we grow and evolve. The vision that I had for my life and my business 5 years ago is wildly different than where it is today. Because 5 years ago, I was working in a more corporate role. Today, I'm a business owner. Of course, my vision is different. And so I highly recommend that as we are goal setting, it's not a one and done event, that when you set your goals for a new year, you build in strategic quarterly reviews, which give you a chance to go back to your vision, reread that long-term vision, what has changed, what has evolved, what still resonates with you. And if you need to, rewrite that vision if you're in a different place, and keep giving yourself that space to dream really big about where you want to go.
Right. Kristin, number 2 characteristics of a goal achiever is confidence, according to your earlier statement. So what is the correlation between self-confidence and self-esteem? Can I build one and leave the other?
Oh, I think they go hand in hand together.
Right.
And so as you become more confident, your self-esteem grows. You believe in yourself more. You minimize self-doubts. And then on the opposite side of things, as you start to minimize that self-doubt and you believe in yourself, you become more confident. So they really, really do go hand in hand. And I think it's really important that we unpack some of the ways that our listeners can build their confidence or grow their confidence. And I believe that a lot of confidence centers around thinking less and acting more. So there are 3 ways that we can think ourselves out of being confident. The first way is if we ruminate or we spend far too much time thinking about things that happened in the past. Like, how often do you replay in your mind over and over a mistake you made, or a deal you didn't get, a sale you didn't make, and you beat yourself up?
I was once the victim.
Over. Well, that's not productive, because guess what? We don't have a time machine. We can't go backwards and change that. And the other thing that's a challenge, the other thing that's a challenge about that is we're having this conversation with ourselves. So unless we invite the other party, the other person into the conversation, we're not really solving anything. So we got to recognize that some of us just spend far too much time thinking about the past, and that can diminish our confidence. And so I've had to learn to be like, okay, whoa, check myself. I need to stop rehashing that situation. I need to take a moment and journal. What did I learn? And how do I want to move forward and move on? The second way that we can overthink, the second way is overthinking. And this absolutely diminishes our confidence. And I find that women tend to overthink a lot. We get this great idea. I know exactly who I need to reach out to and ask for a meeting. And then we stop and we think, well, how should I reach out? What should I say in my outreach? What will they think of me if I reach out? What if they say no? And it's like, if we just do the outreach, we're going to learn from it. And so often we overthink our way outside of taking action, which diminishes our confidence. And then the third way of thinking that gets in our way is forward thinking or future thinking. This is all the what if. This is the anxiety. Well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And what if this happens? And we spend all of this energy, we waste all of this energy thinking about all these what ifs that likely don't come true. It's the fear. So our self-esteem and our confidence, they really do go hand in hand. And it's incredibly important that we are mindful of the ways that thinking can hinder our confidence.
Right. Kristin, what is your thought on the subject of consistency, right? I love this topic, right? So I want you to really buttress it. Why do we struggle with consistency?
I think the biggest way, I believe the biggest reason we struggle with consistency is what I call an all or nothing mentality. And this is closely connected with perfectionism. So a great way for our listeners to visualize this all or nothing mentality is to think about eating goals. So if anyone has a goal to eat healthy in the new year, and this is going to be the year I'm going to eat all the vegetables and all the fruit, and I'm not going to eat the sugar, and you start the new year and it's the first day and you're on fire. You're having your smoothie for breakfast. You got your lunch for, you're having a salad for lunch. You've got your grilled veggies and your protein for dinner. And then the next day you go to the office and there's a box of donuts to celebrate someone's birthday. And you feel that temptation and you're like, should I have one? I really want one. They have my favorite. And you eat the donut. And then all of a sudden you beat yourself up and you throw your hands up in the air and you think, that's it. I am a failure. My diet is over. Well, why do you think that way? We are human, so we're not going to be perfect all the time. So think about how different that would play out if you ditched your all or nothing mentality. You eat the donut. Well, go have your salad for lunch. It's not over. And that's where I think we get so tripped up with consistency is we set these big goals and we create these habits and we've got this, I'm going to do it every day, New Year's resolution. And by nature, we're going to trip up. We're going to have something come up in our lives. It doesn't mean we have to give up. We recognize an element of that humanness and we just get right back on track the next day.
Right. Now, Kristin, let's talk about women. Let's talk about you and I. There's an incredible rate in the growth of women in business, especially in this 21st century. Tell me, what gave rise to this now? Is it that women are good at business or make better business leaders?
Oh, I believe women are phenomenal at business.
Yes.
But we need to believe it ourselves.
That's right.
And I think what really holds women back in business is ourselves. It goes back to that thinking we talked about, believing in ourselves. And then, one of the differences I see between men and women in business, and prior to launching my coaching practice, I spent over a decade working in the male-dominated industry of financial services. And one of the big differences I saw is that men typically asked for what they needed. So they weren't afraid of not knowing the answer. They asked for mentorship. They raised their hand. They didn't sit back and do a good job and then wait to be tapped on the shoulder. And I think that that's where women